Sam Wilson and his hunt for the source of a vibranium smuggling ring have landed him right in the middle of Latveria, the realm of Doctor Doom. Can Captain America escape with his life, or will Doom end it unceremoniously? Captain America's Symbol of Truth continues the intriguing mystery behind the vibranium smuggling ring, and in general this issue reads pretty well. A lot of the interactions are quite interesting, and I'm enjoying how the comic is handling both Cap and Falcon's respective stories. The transitions between them are never abrupt, nor do they feel slowed down. The comic has a very connective way to it, and because of that, it never deters the reader's interest. You never feel, whether it's Sam or Joaquin, that you're not in sync with what's happening. Both stories for the characters matter for their overall plot. Basically, it's not Stranger Things Season 2, Episode 7. And if you get that reference, then you are amazing. Now, this issue suggests that Doctor Doom plays an integral role. He doesn't. Rather, the whole Doom plot is handled fairly quickly, and quite possibly too quickly. No, I don't think we've seen the last of Doom in the series, but there's definitely a lot of cool possibilities that writer Tochi Inabuki could bring in later issues. I don't know, but like a war between the US and Latveria could be pretty dope. When it comes to RB Silva and his art, again, the dude nails it. The comic has a fun, action-packed style to it, and it definitely delivers on that end. Some of the panels of Sam in civilian clothing, talking to his informant at the correctional facility, that whole scene felt pretty plain to me, with regard to its art, but places like in Mexico with Joaquin, Doom's throne room, or even Wakanda Forever's protests that are happening in DC and Harlem, all of that stuff feels alive and active. I hope that this living, breathing style is continued in future issues, and I'm curious to see how Silva will depict Wakanda. And the colors are fresh, very much active, and they pretty much bring you towards the action, which is a fantastic feeling. Overall, Captain America's Symbol of Truth continues to be a fun Sam Wilson mystery revolving around vibranium smuggling operations. The book is a simple mission, and at the end of the day, it's harmless. And I'm very curious to see how White Wolf's overall plan sort of plays out. Captain America's Symbol of Truth, issue number 3, gets an 8 out of 10. Our story begins in the magical land of Latveria, where inside this wonderful and majestic place, filled with hopes and dreams and a loving sense of community, is Doctor Doom. Now, Doom is about to commence a trial against Sam Wilson and Deadpool due to them trespassing in his country. And if there's one thing that Doctor Doom hates the most, besides Reed Richards of course, are superheroes trespassing in Latveria. Now, while Deadpool says what he says, which is, most of the time bullshit, Sam makes his case, telling Doom that there's illicit contraband being smuggled into and or through Latveria, the contraband being vibranium. And after telling Doom about the events that happened back in issue 1, Doom is quick to put the rumors to rest. He assures Sam that the smugglers operating in Latveria are carrying food and other supplies instead of vibranium, humanitarian supplies, cut off due to the sanctions for the country that Sam represents, which is obviously the United States. Eventually seeing that business is concluded, Doom allows Sam to go scot-free. However, not without giving him an ominous threat for the US government. Basically, the next illegal incursion into Latveria will be answered, and you can bet your bottom dollar that Doom is referring to war. Thus, Sam departs while Deadpool is ordered to stay, which is hilarious. Later on, back in Washington, D.C., Sam is having a meeting with Senator Mansfield, while at the same time, the political movement known as Wakanda Forever are having a protest right outside their window. Oh, and fun fact, apparently Wakanda has just given the A-OK to accept visa applications. Now, seeing that Latveria was a dead end, the good news is that Sam, at the very least, knows that the vibranium is in fact coming out of Wakanda. Mansfield suggests to Sam that he undergo a covert operation into Wakanda in order to get to the bottom of this. But Sam isn't down for that. He wants to handle this the right way. He doesn't want to act like some spy or anything of that sort. And so he tells the senator to set him up with an official line of communication with the Wakandan leadership. Meanwhile, in the southern western zone of the United States, we pick up with Falcon, flying his cousin to an old S.H.I.E.L.D. safe house, which has been out of commission for a while now, given the fact that S.H.I.E.L.D. just doesn't exist. Now, Joaquin asks Louisa about this lab that she mentioned in the last issue, the one where she and the other escapees came from, and she tells him that she doesn't remember much, but what she does remember was being picked up from a bus from the Macaladora, and she and the others simply thought it was the same bus that they used every day. However, once inside, once everyone was situated, strange gas began to fill up, resulting in everyone falling asleep. Meanwhile, at the Sing Sing Correctional Facility, Sam meets up with a contact of his, a guy by the name of Cam. And after a bit of catching up, Sam wonders if Cam has a bead on a white supremacist ring that is smuggling high tech and maybe some precious metals, like, I don't know, let's say vibranium, to which Cam reveals that everyone in the scene has already heard about something like that. And apparently the Wakandan Forever movement is somehow involved, because weeks back, attacks were being made by these neo-Nazis against the activists. But for whatever reason, the Neos, they were ordered to stop. And ever since then, there's been peace and a growth within the movement. So basically someone is controlling on what's being done. Someone is controlling on what's being said in order to create a narrative. Down in Mexico, after providing his cousin with a beacon device to signal him or Cap for help, Luisa is shown boarding the same bus to be taken back to the secret facility. Essentially, with Luisa on the inside, once the beacon is activated, Falcon can rush in, meet up with his cousin, and find out on what's happening. Later on, Sam has a meeting with the current leadership of Wakanda, since the child at the moment has been kicked out. And here Sam is telling Shuri and Wakanda's prime minister that vibranium is being smuggled out of Wakanda. Sam runs down the case, talking about the freight train attack and the facility afterwards. He believes these attackers were after vibranium, to which he then tells them that he can track them to their source if we can launch a joint operation in Wakanda. But Shuri is like, hell no. Sorry dude, but that ain't gonna happen. And despite Sam telling Shuri that this is the best way to handle the situation, the Wakandan leadership are like not for it. They basically tell Sam to get fucked. And from there, after communications are ceased, Senator Mansfield is walking behind Sam, reminding him that there's always option B. And that takes us to Harlem, New York, where Sam is navigating through the Wakandan Forever crowd, making his way to one of their desks. And from there, he signs up for a visa so that he can travel to Wakanda. But unbeknownst to our hero, White Wolf is shown perched up above, saying 2 birds with 1 vibranium stone. So yeah, things are pretty much coming together for his plan. Meanwhile, Falcon is keeping tabs on his cousin as she enters the facility. And eventually, once the prisoners get out of the bus, they are taken through an invisible shield, which certainly explains why she couldn't tell Joaquin where she was being taken to. Suddenly, Falcon is shot down by a marksman, and once he's done being electrocuted and basically tapped out of the fight, that's when we see Crossbones standing over his body, where the villain then orders his men to place the birdie in his cage. And while Luisa is calling for Falcon and is getting no response, that's when we get ourselves an interior look of the prison, where we see a massive stash of vibranium. And that, folks, was the end of Captain America, Symbol of Truth, issue number 3. And thank you guys for checking out my video, as it truly means the world to me. And as always, I'm your majestic sayer of words, SuperCliff. And if you guys are new to the channel, then do me a solid by smashing that like and subscribe button. And also hit the notification bell so that you'll never miss out on an upload. And so that you'll always be kept up to date with your favorite top tier comics happening in the comic book world. Now tell me, what are your thoughts and opinions on this issue? Are you guys excited for issue number 4? Let me know down in the comment section below. And until the next video, peace. Giggity goo.